Thank you.
Yeah, actually, I'm punching and I said that saying we were in your studio yesterday. Thanks so much.
People are arriving. They're coming.
Yeah.
Great question.
Good to see you. What's going on? Got on good. Yeah, got on good. This is Devjani here from Bodepudi. And John over there from Coventry. Oh, sweet, you're all from Coventry. I'm not even seeing these. Nice. Yeah, this is keep on. MCing means. Welcome. We were over in Coventry there. It's a great exchange. Nice to have a lot of questions. Yeah, it's good. And I haven't been to England for such a long time. It's been We'll follow. Yeah. It's so sweet, man. November. Yes.
I was in 2 mornings, I said, I don't want to do what I'm saying. I thought that was you because you were so working. I was wondering, I was like, I couldn't see it in action now. I will, yeah, I just know how far I get now. Here's the... I didn't recognize you. It's been a couple of years.
Hey, Maximo, are you there? Maximo, are you there? This is Penny.
Sitting there, you won't see the screen. There you go. It's up to you. If you want to see the screen, go for it. The other participants are around the world. Crazy. Later. Enjoy.
Hey, Massimo, can you hear me?
Hello. Who that is? Good time?
Hola. Conastán Shiv. An bhar fad. Dígit. Fáilte go dtí or Gorda os Coventry. So big welcome to our friends from Coventry. And yeah, welcome everybody here to another Ovale. Delighted to be back around, and delighted to have you with us. So we have a good few things going on tonight because this event is part of our Cork Coventry exchange, which has been like a really, really great exchange for Ovale over many years now. A lot of really great cultural experiences has been had through this exchange, and we're delighted to be able to host what we hope will be another great cultural experience this evening. But yeah, so we'll start away. Basically, the Lord Mayor is going to be here in a little bit as well, so you can, straighten your ties and things. But yeah, we'll start away with the 5-word challenge. Basically, there you go. It's hierarchies now, Trish. It's terrible. But so yeah, we'll just give a quick rundown to anybody who's not been here before of how the night's going to work. Basically, we're going to do a writing challenge here in a second called the 5-word challenge. I'll explain the rules there in a little second. But then we're going to have both of our guest poets who are over from Coventry, and then after a little break, we're going to have the open mic at the end. The Lord Mayor will be here in a little bit, and he'll speak a little bit more about the Cork Coventry exchange. They're twin cities, and I think many people here have partaken in the exchange before or are about to partake in the exchange. So we'll give you a bit more detail on that in a while. But basically, yeah, we're going to start away with the 5-word challenge. If you haven't been here before, the 5-word challenge is a literature challenge, not necessarily poetry, but you can make any piece of literature that you have the capability to create within the 13 allotted minutes. But basically, there's 5 words, any word at all, really, within reason, within the English language. Is going to be contributed from the audience, and we're going to collect the first 5 of them, and with those 5 words you'll then have, say, like 13 to 15 minutes to make a piece of literature of some kind with them. A poem, a screenplay, a play, a flash fiction, super flash fiction. But usually it's a poem. But do with that information what you will. But yeah, and basically afterwards, once the 15 minutes is up, you will be invited to come up to this microphone to perform what you've written, and the person who gets the biggest response from their piece of writing will be awarded a drink of their choice from the bar, and also there's some poetry books on this chair, not actually in their usual home, which is behind me, but there's some poetry books here on this chair, which you will be, there'll be one of each. You'll get a copy of the 5-word challenge anthology for this year, and you'll also have a choice of one of these books here for the winner. So it's a very worthy prize. So I would encourage you to, think creative thoughts and all that. But yeah, we'll start away. So does anybody have a word they would like to contribute? Oh, solidarity, like, this is important.
You need a pen.
S-E-E-K. Like,
Ginger, seek the word.
Breathe.
Pam Campbell says breathe.
Horse. Polymer.
Okay, I think we got them there. So breathe, and then did you say horse, Brendan? Or do you mean horse is in horse in the throat, or horse is in the animal? All right, very good. Horse,
The animal.
horse, the animal,
Ginger, breathe, horse.
and
Polymer.
polymer.
Yes.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Okay, Cedric has to give an explanation.
So with a word like that, we're going to take a definition from Cedric. So Cedric,
Come on.
in
kind of plastic, is it?
Yeah, plastics are made from polymer.
polymer is
It's a molecule. It's a carbon and hydrogen-based molecule akin to plastic, but it can be engineered biologically or it can be man-made.
okay. So a polymer is a hydrogen and carbon-based molecule akin to plastic that can be produced biologically or synthetically. Okay. So
Breathe, horse, polymer. And that's the word there.
but that's we have five. Right?
Dude, what's the fifth one?
Ginger, seek.
Seek.
Yeah.
Oh, seek.
SEEK.
Okay.
They're all here. Go through them again there. Like,
So-
what actually made it?
Ginger, seek, breathe, horse, polymer. Right? So they're the five words. And you have, say, yeah, I'd say probably 14 minutes.
Is it horse
Ah,
in the
great.
throat? Or what was the animal?
Yeah. Okay. All right, best of luck with your challenge, and we'll reconvene in about 14 minutes. Yeah. We'll just take one for display and then Trino made Foca. So it's 3 minutes. It's your 3-minute warning. Right, Tommy Drake. Are we ready? Feeling ready enough? Very good. So the mic is now open. If you have, if you'd like to contribute a piece of writing, we'd love to hear it. So, thank you. Right, so just to encourage the people in the room, we'll actually go to Zoom first because they were very quick at responding to what we said. Just to break the ice and all that. So we'll go with Sapongo, please.
Thank you very much. Good evening, everyone. This is what I wrote. I wake up to a cup of freshly boiled ginger, garlic, lime, and some honey. No processed sugar for me. I heard that stuff is bad for me. Security, certainty is what I seek. Legs folded, spine up straight. I breathe in and out. In my mind, another slim champion title. Breathe in and out, feeding my root chakra. All stars on my feet, I head out. No doubt in my reality, I'll make myself proud because the only savior I need won't pierce the clouds on a white horse, but will look back at me each time I accidentally open the front camera, telling me I should have found the meaning of Polaima before I wrote this piece, because now I'm finding it hard to relate it to this piece. Thank you.
Thank you, Sapango, for the honest approach. Always appreciated. Thanks a lot. We'll have Massimo next, please.
Hey, can you see me and hear me okay? Yeah. Oh, wonderful, wonderful. All right. All plastics are polymers, but not all polymers are plastic. DNA is a polymer. You can't make it, only match it. And a horse is a horse. You may say, but of course. Though no two horses run this life the same course. A seeker is a seeker, but when they find, are they a keeper? If there's no promise that a knower finds more peace than a believer. Ginger is a root, but it also is a flower. Bitter is its taste, but healing is its power. Life lives underground in the sky and still survives. Even underwater, all must breathe to stay alive. Thank y'all so much.
The name is Sue. Sue Boo. Thanks very much. This is called Soul to Soul. I hide behind a tree, glances gliding along black flanks, rising, falling, slender neck stretching, rearing, flared nostrils breathing, scenting, seeking me. Always let the horse come towards you. Find his hazel eyes and meet his soul. Turn your back and wait for his warm breath to nuzzle your neck. Soft lips tickling behind your ears, pulling your ginger locks playfully. Reconfirming the bond built over time, trust gained by growing together, the connection stronger than polymer chains, beyond the teaching of a Spanish school or whispers in the desert. Connected heart to heart, being to being, essence to essence, soul to soul.
So the name is Cedric. The cup's steam rises, marigold and ginger, a bitter spice that rolls off the tongue as it wakes it. Takes the mind away from the excessive heartbeat. Pleasure, some focus is recovered. I can almost see what I seek. A horse to my carriage, a way forward, a second wind to my short breath. It is there in the tea leaves that steam away. The complex recipe to success, the polymer that will bind us together, the compound in two letters. As I press enter. Hi, this, there is a typo.
Yeah, it's granted. Yeah. I'm Megan. Breathe in, breathe out. Now pause. Now start. Pick it up in your hands and squish it. Put it back down and flatten it. Pick pieces off while you idly seek what to do with this polymer clay. An ashtray, a jewelry holder, I know, a horse, a rectangle, 4 thinner rectangles, 2 small circles for eyes on a rectangle, 2 triangles for ears, and 1 rebellious tail. And we've given the horse a favourite treat. And we've given the horse a favourite beer. And we've given the horse a colour. And we've given the horse a name. Ginger.
So we're just going to go back online there to Pam Campbell.
Hey, y'all, can you hear me okay?
Yeah.
Okay, here we go. All right. Okay. Oh, uncle, a century of living, polymered into this membrane of your living into your dying, breathing to the shadowland, strewn now with a different kind of sniper than the ones you gingerly dodged at 22. Battalion messenger in Patton's 7th Army Division, salt from the ranks because you, Eastern Kentucky mountain poet, knew Earth in its darkness and light and could read a map. Nightmares still thunder like horses, carrying the horror of Gunskirken Locker, where men, no more than flesh-covered skeletons, died in your and your comrades' arms. May you go easy, uncle, into the night. May moonbeams shine your way. May whippoorwills lullaby you home. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Pam.
Hello, I'm Neve. My heart was once crimson, its galloping kept pace with any horse. These days it is a faded ginger, squeezing over the polymer thick chambers. I tried to seek a surgeon to relieve me of this hoarding. He tells me the cure is much deeper. Banging on the gates of Coca-Cola with the scalpel in my hand, I begged them to slice me open, to let my heart breathe once again. Thank you.
Yeah, I'm Jamie. I was once bitten by a horse, though to be fair, I was more in his territory than he in mine, and he was more interested in my t-shirt than what was underneath. Something about the polymer blend, I suppose. He chomped away without malice, not seeking skin, but pinching it anyway. I paused, breathed in, then yelled out, though what emerged from my lips must have been more of a screech than a yell, as I was still too young for my weird pubescent ginger mustache to begin sprouting, early though that would eventually be. Anyway, the horse got more of a fright than I did, as though he'd forgotten I was there. Must have been a hell of a t-shirt.
Yo, I would like to read possibly the worst poem I've ever written for a 5-word challenge. I did like slink in the last second, but here we go. Wake, seeking relief, heat like ginger, limber, unzip the plastic orifice. The polymer horse straddles the cheap metal rails. Too little sleep, festival tent.
Carl, I see your worst poem and I raise you this one. 40-40, tip the can, hide and seek, cough and you'll be spotted, of course. It's a guarantee, My Little Pony will never be a horse. It's a possibility that Ginger Spice didn't cook much, but you can bet your last breath that Barbie's polymer dream car will never get written off.
Somewhere beyond the fields of polymer, a herd of wild horses run. They seek for nothing but the air they breathe, one another. Their ginger manes and ebony tails flash, paint the wind, and are gone.
Hey, I'm John. Good to be here. Here we go. With wings of wonder, not quite natural, not quite what they actually seem. They seek to breathe in polymer pulses, woven weft of bladderwrack, of kelp, of darkened dulse. A lofty flight of ginger horses built for modern aerial courses. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Sorry. Hey, Stan. All right. This is called MCR2, or has anyone else regretted being redheaded?
Never.
Ginger, 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 cried out my horse-faced classmate on the playground, of course. I had fire in my eyes, and I wish I could just singe her, singe her, singe her. Her taunts made me seek peace and quiet, and just breathe, just breathe, just breathe, because her voice has got my patience on a diet. And I don't mean to be drastic, but I wished all of her inner water was replaced with so many microplastics that she was 70% polymers.
That wasn't intimidating to follow up at all. Okay, yeah, I wrote this quickly as I do all my poems. No excuses, just nervousness. I know people expect a lot from just a few words, but sometimes my emotions can't sum up a lot, so here's my few. You're my ginger, my essence of emotions, my polymer of love. With you I can breathe, riding the horse of life into the predictable hereby after, and hopefully into the forever after.
I am Catherine. It's called TFW. Polymer me this, polymer me that. But is that Ken in his new sun hat? Waiting for Barbie to arrive on her polymer horse. His chest tightened and his throat felt hoarse. Breathe, he said, as we seek the dream, licking ice cream off each other in the next movie scene. J.J. Fisher-Price was the director with an enormous ginger beard. Scene 2, Act 1, boys and girls. It's time to get TFW. Totally fucking weird.
I'm just gonna make this easy for everyone who's shy, because this is the shortest thing you'll ever hear, and it's like my first time ever even trying. So here we go. Yay! I seek to find the sweetest part of my memory, the ginger horse with grooves of polymer clay. Its structure so alive, I could almost see it breathe. I know it was alive once, somewhere in my childhood dreams. There we go. Yay!
Yeah, I just want to read this one because I'm inspired by that Celtic horse thing over there. So, if I were to ask you, hold on, I'll read the better version. If I were to ask you to cast for me a Celtic horse in bronze, would you? Burnishing the reflection of the moon in its iris. Like Zeus, I would breathe into it a warm animation and would feed it candied ginger, muzzling my face in its evening mane. But how will you cast a horse in bronze if you are not there? Instead, I must seek out purplish polymer clay and mold a meekness, limp with ineptitude and longing. Thank you.
How are we doing? Blue road polymers in blown wind over the ginger gorse, the end of the end of the end, in the place where fragments fly, of fleeting homes and bluing dawns, a fleeing Rome where families go to meet the sky. A breathing silence finally, the bleeding crying harmony. This caravan was really worth the price.
So this is Roxanne, and this is called Nonsensical Tune. Seekers. We are all seekers for truth, for hope, and we rise, enchanted by greater powers, like horses on free rides along ginger shores. Drunken by man-made polymer, our consciousness longs to breathe, to get away, somehow in vain. The last dance prevails, an arabesque as tribute to all times. A final bow, it's time to rest. Thank you very much.
we have any other takers for the 5-word challenge? Anyone else? On Zoom? No. On Facebook? um, $19 contributors to the 5-word challenge. And yeah, just a huge congratulations to all of you. Yeah, extremely difficult job to try and judge that, because you know what's a heartful to a laugh, or a laugh to a you know, so this is not a scientific process, I would say, but yeah, it'll never be believed that it wasn't some sort of ginger conspiracy how this leaderboard looks, right? But Sue Blue did very well. J. Fisher did very well. But I think performing the ultimate smash and grab of the 5-word challenge was Catherine Rowland.
And just to let you know that ginger nuts are my favourite. TFW. Polymer me this, polymer me that. But is that Ken in his new sun hat? Waiting for Barbie to arrive on our polymer horse. His chest tightened and his throat felt hoarse. Breathe, he said, as we seek the dream, licking ice cream off each other in the next movie scene. J. Fisher Price was the director with an enormous ginger beard. Scene 2, Act 1, boys and girls. Time to get TFW. Totally fucking weird.
The in references to other gingers in the room didn't actually give her any bonus points there. It was purely based on the response that he gave to her, right? So don't blame me. But, okay.
That's the science.
That's the science. That's where the science comes in. Right, we're gonna take a little break and then we'll be back. I'm gonna start handing out the open mic list. So if you'd like to say a poem later on the open mic, then there's a list here. Hey, bye. What's happening? Yeah, but you fucking come with me.
That was lovely.
Good, man. Yes. I was kind of like not going to. I was killing it for a bit, so I wasn't out. Kind of away for like a month or two. So I'm coming back in. Thank you.
Yeah, man. A lot of them in.
I think hers is great as well.
Well done. No, well done. They fucking they love it. The audience loves it. So you have a choice of one of these ones, or you have a choice. You need a pen? So, and then you also go. If I can put up to date 5 No, I think you get one of these books on here. So you pick one of these, and then you get the 5 for challenge.
Oh, yes, oh yeah, I get that.
Okay, perfect.
Because I have the others actually.
Oh, nice. Such is your fame in these pairs. Like, yeah. Happy days. Good to see you.
Nothing happening downstairs.
Yeah, I mean it's hard to compete with that.
Well, yeah,
I'll be there anyway if you want to find out.
Thanks very much. Thank you.
Photo rash. Good meal, Mahgrave. We actually have a load of announcements, so I'm just going to try and hammer through them as well as I can here. So, just before we continue, Ovale aims to maintain a safe space for writers and all attendees. We subscribe to the Arts Council's Equality, Human Rights and Diversity policy, and we ask participants to report any offensive behaviour to Ovale. The 11th 5 Words International Poetry Competition continues. The words are changing tomorrow at 12 p.m. and our judge this year is Theo Dorgan. And the words, you get a special preview of the words for this week. But the words for the international competition are hedge, hide, word, drop, and spirit. I have a message here. So if anybody is attending Electric Picnic this year, there is a person here, Helen, who works for Creativity and Change, and they have a area, basically an artivist arena in the Global Green area, and they're going to be hosting an open mic at 4 o'clock each day at Electric Picnic. So if anybody is up there, they would love some Ovale heads to call down and to contribute some poetry to the open mic. It's a collaboration with Creativity and Change, Global Green, and then Raphael has a Sauty Studios down there, the Cork Migrant Centre, and Largus. So a lot of good organisations there, and they'd love to hear a few Ovalians come down onto the mic. The 11th Ovale International Poetry Film Competition is accepting submissions until the 31st of August. So if the film hasn't been made yet, you have not that much time really to try and pull it together. So this is kind of like your final warning. But yeah, the 31st of August, you can get more details there at ovale.ie. Please be aware that this event is recorded. It can be revisited as an MP3 podcast or on video via Ovale's website, social media, and Vimeo channel. Our photographer Brendan Duffin, who's here next to the horse's head, we'll be taking photos throughout the evening for our social media. So if you'd like not to be in any of those photographs, you can just let him know. Or you can, yeah, as the Lord Mayor also says, you can also leave, I suppose. But we'd rather you didn't do that. We'd rather you just say it to Brendan, and he can not publish that. So tomorrow night, our guest John and Devjani will be reading in Debarras down in Clonakilty. Woo! That's it. Nice. There'll also be a number of Ovale poets attending, so if you're interested in joining that crew, I'm sure we'll try and work out lifts and stuff in a while, so you can talk to Paul and myself. Our featured guest on the 11th of September next month, Ben McQuilta, who's going to be in person, and Afric McKay, who will be on Zoom. Our guests then for Culture Night on the 22nd of September are the All-Ireland Slam champion Leon Dunn, who will be here in person, and the Kenyan Slam champion, who's Kikara, or Kikar, I think is how you probably pronounce it, and they'll be attending via Zoom. Poetry Ireland will be bringing Ireland Is to the Everyman on the 29th of September. It's a spoken word roadshow featuring Colm Keegan, Aaron Fornhoff, Holly McNish, Philly Speaks, and Danez Smith. So check that out. It'll be available from the Everyman website. Thank you to everybody who's donated via the PayPal and everybody who continues to donate to Avail through the PayPal. There is also a little jar there underneath the horse's head, which we'll pass around. Any contribution you can make to Avail is greatly appreciated. Sinna will. And then, it gives me great pleasure here, before we introduce our two guests here from Coventry, who we are delighted to have, there will be a warm welcome. Could we please give a warm Avail welcome to the Lord Mayor of Cork, Councillor Kieran McCarthy. Councillor Kieran McCarthy.
You have to leave.
I'd also like to say that Kimber was telling me they've been on the road since 8 o'clock this morning, so it means a lot that they've made the effort to be here. So.
Kieran Murphy, who's that? Dear friends, I'm delighted to be here actually. I think the last time I was here was in 2017, actually as a Deputy Lord Mayor. But let me start. I've got a few things that I want to share with you, and some of them are deep and some of them are not so deep. But they say that poetry has the power to stop somebody, to impress on someone, make somebody question something, make someone wonder, make someone dream, remember, be disturbed, explore, and be curious. And what I call a plus, a whole series of different emotions. I think anyone who appreciates the process of poetry know how far it could actually take you. Certainly yourselves as poets here, you know the amount of like planning, design work, thought, emotion, and building work that goes into each line, each word, and even to try to keep saying the words over and over again to make sure they fit the way that you want them to fit. And for me, for 3 decades, I actually am big into Irish culture, history, landscape, identity making. I have a passion for exploring Cork City and its region. I just came from a walking tour earlier on of Shandon this evening, and it was like 85 people in front of me who wanted to find out about the Shandon area. But I've always said that like Cork City itself is a very rich kind of tapestry of buildings and places. It's got an enormous and complex artwork of buildings. And the artwork itself has its own lines and contours and narratives and expressions and meanings and memories. And I think poetry as well also has that. Contours and expressions and meanings and lines, and sometimes there's a hiddenness of what poems actually are to the general public, and maybe the poet can see that. And poetry could be described as a piece of life, creating new ways of seeing energies within the world. Poets certainly are explorers of the world, sometimes in a macro way, sometimes in a micro way, but certainly poems and poets can offer, they can comment on changing moods and humours, like on what I call the varied coloured palettes of the world, and each poem represents a different view, and each listener takes away something different. And I think in this world where we find ourselves, like post-COVID, we've got a war in the eastern borders of Europe, we've got energy crisis, climate action. I think we need more people to be able to maybe to read the world in a macro and micro way, and kind of to give a nuance and kind of a soul-filled approach to the world that we actually live in. I do dabble in poetry. Yes, I know. I'm really interested. I'm really interested on the interface of heritage and kind of the present day. And a few years ago, 10 years ago, I finished a thesis in college, and whatever happened over the space of a year, all of a sudden I began writing poetry. Whatever the thesis did, all of a sudden I began writing poetry. And then also I had a muse, I had a partner that never became my girlfriend. I began to send her poems. And I was like, and yeah, nothing ever happened afterwards. She's like, thanks very much for all the poems. And I was like, yeah, thanks for the year of my life.
but what did happen is that I wrote 50 poems to my muse, and one of the poems that I wrote was actually arising out of a visit that I went to a Portal Dolmen in a place called Poolnabrone in County Clare. And I wrote this from just going to this particular dolmen, and this was my poem. So this poem is by Lord Mayor Councillor Kieran McCarthy. It's entitled Whispers in Time. So let me read it to you. Somewhere in space it exists, placeless along a winding road, windswept and stubborn, sliced from the land, a house of card-like stones, erect and balancing, metaphor and meaning at odds, twisting like the human rope encircling it, a site of secrets, a signpost to life, a portal to the present, a dolmen of the past, a tunnel to life and living, complex and etched in the sunset of time, not lost, not found, but living in the now, to see or not see, a tomb invisible to the modern, and time passes. The light fades, changes, plays and replays. Confident it stands, stubborn it belies time, and playfully it whispers into the chasms of time, I am here, I am now. I know. No, I'm glad you applauded, because the response I got 10 years ago was like, that's lovely. Thank you. And perhaps the last two lines, I am here, I am now, is perhaps what we all experience when we listen to a poem that we like. So to conclude, let us all be grateful that O'Vale poetry exists in our city and exists for so many years. And I know how much work and organisation goes into this. It's year in, year out, season after season, trying to bring people together. And also, can I welcome our two poets from Coventry. Cork is very, very lucky that we're twinned with 6 cities. We've got 6 sister cities. But Coventry is probably one of our closest. And I've been to Coventry a few times as a councillor, trying to make sure the cultural connections are there. Especially, we've got a lot of Irish diaspora that left Ireland after the Second World War. And there's a very strong Irish society in Coventry. But I know that every year there are 2 poets that are brought through O'Vale Poetry here. So I know that I'm meeting you formally in my office tomorrow as well. So let me conclude. Long may poetry have the power to stop somebody, impress on someone, make one curious, question, wonder, dream, and be disturbed in a whole series of emotions, and not to forget the journey in all of that. I'm delighted to be here, and thank you very much for the invitation as well this evening. Thank you a lot. Thank you so much, Kieran McCarthy. Yeah. Apologies for nearly getting your name wrong. No, seriously, huge thank you for that. It was really beautifully put, and I think it really encapsulates a lot of what we feel here as a community. And I think having this extension, sort of pathway, kind of a channel created with Coventry, which has happened over, 15 years? 17?
Yeah, 15 times over 17 years.
15 times over 17 years this exchange has happened. It culminated recently in an anthology being produced of all the people who have gone on the exchange, but I think it was really beautifully put by the Lord Mayor there in terms of the importance of that. And just on that note, we're going to introduce our guests here from Coventry, who we are delighted to have, right? So John, you might go first, and I'll introduce you separately. So I'll just introduce John first, and then we'll have Devjani come up in a little while, and I'll introduce you then. Okay. So, inspired by modern nature writers such as Jay Griffiths and Roger Deakin, John Watson's poetry is motivated by his vivid, colourful dreams, his swims in seas and rivers, his distrust of all things dogmatic, and a belief in circular as opposed to linear time. John started to attend Pure, Good and Right, an open mic night based in Leamington Spa. Here he eventually braved the floor and read out loud for the first terrifying time. And I know we have a few people here who are here for the first time, so, you know, it's always terrifying, you know. He regularly attended PGR and Fire and Dust and has since headlined at both as a featured poet. He has featured at Hush in Earlsdon and at Sheep Dip Sessions in Princethorpe. John's work has been published in HCE magazine and Idler magazine. He eventually took on the role of host at PGR, of what is possibly the longest running open mic in England. I like the possibly. No. Everything's possibly the longest running open mic somewhere. You know, this is whether it is or not. I'm only joking. Yeah, which is possibly the longest open mic in England. He has developed an anarchic style and beat, and he tries to avoid rhyme or any kind of prescribed meter. He is almost convinced that this is poetic humanity's only defense against artificial poetic intelligence. And could we give a big old welcome to John Watson, please?
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm really honoured to be here. It's been a lovely trip so far. Yeah, so I've got a little booklet, actually, a little pamphlet. I sketched it, the cover, on my recent holiday in Cornwall in the southwest, and it's kind of there's a poem. The last poem is called "Love's Last Remains" by myself, and I painted me and my wife as corpses there. It's a painting of the last poem. When I look at it now, she's sliding towards me, and I'm sort of looking as if I'm saying, "Do you come here often?" Which isn't what I intended, but anyway, it's a poem. You can meet me and buy one for a £5 afterwards, if you choose to. And I've got these two to be kicking off with, because I don't want to do the same here as I'm going to do in Debarras. Try and keep it a little bit different. This poem is about this Scandinavian concept of Allemansrat. Years ago, I was on the TV, 6 o'clock news, for the Right to Roam campaign, which had some traction in England. Scotland has it. England completely doesn't still. So yeah, there was 6 o'clock news. I was trampling turnips straight after Yasser Arafat. One of my proud moments. So this one is called Unforgiven Trespass. As mist explores the folded wolds, as smoke beguiles a strath from a gypsy's billy-can brewtime blaze, crackled from apple or cherrywood sticks. If directed a route, I'll meander a trail like a whimsical sloth or a curious snail with a surplus of mucousy goo. No longer misguided by rights to a way, I drift where I bloody well like. Let the lord of the land take an overly privileged hike, and all of the duchy or duchy and all of that ilk, freshly pomaded in Harris or silk, who embezzled our wealth to claim all of the land, laundered through centuries of slavery's guilt. They hold fast to mistruth, that the sands of time may be softened a lie, help to soak up the blood spilled by their own blood's greed. Thank you. That's that one. This other poem that isn't in the book. During the pandemic, I used to work do something completely different. But during the pandemic, I took a role to natural burial ground nearby. For 2 years, I worked there, set in liminal landscape. I don't know if you know the English landscape, but within half a mile, the River Blythe rises, and that ends up in the North Sea. And the other side, on this just a bit of a bump, is a river called the Inchbrook, and that ends up out in the Bristol Channel into the Irish Sea. So it's quite a magical, mystical landscape. And it was a landscape once owned by the Knights Templar. So I worked there for 2 years during the busy pandemic. Cemetery gardener. Schlunk of the impact, the sickle hits home, glances by chance off my knuckle bones. Still blossoms a bloom of heavy pulse claret, a blood-offered field to the Templars' fields. Cold tempered steel away hard to the blade, splits to scalp, slices the back of my hand. Sanguine to settle my fate, an homage to give sate this old warrior's landscape. Cold iron blade, hemoglobin saturated, visceral sense of my intimate must, oxidized, mingles my essence with rust. I'm all calloused and scarred, toughened up tight in my gardener's skin, thickened up brown, keeps the vitamins in, yet where my fattened calf slims to my foot, lily white, hairless, latex denuded, the biters can sting, with a needle intrude, take a bellyful off to invigor a brood. Makes me sober to realise we're mostly just food. If a lion or a shark took the mood or a chance. I'm a romantic poet who craves happenstance, with an elegant grave after all, with a Byronic backstory prior to my fall. Thank you for that. Into the little pamphlet here now. There's a lot of burial and decomposition in this. So this one's called Gravy Boots. An epiphany. Oh, I wrote this the day before. I in my role there, I didn't always dig or fill the graves, but if the grave digger was busy, I'd happily help him out. It felt a noble thing to do in the pandemic. It was the most honest job I've ever had in my life, to be honest. An epiphany, Gravy Boots. An epiphany felt in my bones, an emergence of truth in my gut, that a human being's only alive if they're digging a groove, not entrenching a rut. As I backfill a freshly cut grave, as each gravelly spade fully clatters back, bounces the box. Should I soften the drop? Maybe gentle the score? Or just shovel I mad to have done with these rocks? All alone in this pebble dash rattle of stones, my inaudible client, replete on his own, no more need of these weary old bones, brought back down to his old Mother Earth, embraced to a bosom, fourscore after birth. This one called Schrodinger's Cats. Matterkin clods on my allotmented plot, boring old steady state me. Occasionally strums an out of tune ukulele. No longer desires to ride a jet ski. Drove to work for half a decade listening to Radio 3. Perhaps I'm just a sleeper cell of who I'll finally get to be. So deeply ensconced, the algorithms can't tell. A vitality charged, semi-virtual spark, half in a dream, half in reality. Wonders what's actual, maybe not what it seems. Senses react within the space of a mind, but in the tense of a present, fell from further behind. A younger myself that future me hardly knew, invested time in his now, so future me could pull through. Whatever on earth was he destined to do, even if he had a half a chance? Start a revolution? Make a fortune in narcotics? Fund robotic spaceflight out to Proxima B? See what other crazy bang-tail cats there might just be, way out of sight, sharing similar forms and plights despite the light years apart. Schrodinger 1 plays out his industrial consumer role. Schrodinger 2, by the grace of duality, whiskey and weed, glides through the galaxy, surfing his actual soul. I read a book recently by a guy called Martin Shaw. It's all about fairies and folk and law, you know. Anyone know Martin Shaw? He's a fantastic writer. Feral twin. Well, where my wilderness twin beckons me in to immerse in his ocean, half adrift on floods of fear, half adrift on floods of flows, half afloat on feral fear, to lose myself in a wooded glen, without any map, on my own canny ken, where the stream meets the slack of a moon-fattened tide, kelp in the mussel beds, cockle paths shine, adrift in elliptical hours, in the glare of a galaxy's glow, naked, bedaubed in salt iodine clay, my soles roll over my heels, need a gravel bank grind, as a breeze on my lips flickers mackerel bands on estuary sands where it streams into tidal deep pools that soak me back cool while I float in a physical dream. And this one, I had to check a few cultural references that you all know David Attenborough and yes, maybe do you all know Jacques Cousteau, because he's quite important in this. Right, okay, that's a relief. The world about us, explored for me by proxy, exotic and remote, observed upon my telly, the coolest man alive at least, the coolest man afloat, Monsieur Jacques Cousteau, on his Sun Beach schooner Calypso, named after a funky dance and a Caribbean breeze, with an uber Gallic accent, gitan tucked behind his ear or at the corner of his lip, togged up, strapped on aqualung, then rolling backward off his ship, filming sous la mer pour nous in graceful paced aquatic dips, coral forests, cephalids, dolphins ever at the prow, or flicking fast beneath the keel. It made this landlocked Midland kid in wonder what on earth they think or feel on our Ready Fusion rental when it wasn't on the blink on Sunday nights, the world about us. Watch agog the leopards pounce, the cheetahs twist and jink, the lions tear gazelles to shreds, to sink inside a zebra's hide their non-retractable claws. And just as the tension soared, they'd pan off to a shallow pool, interrupt my bloodlust brink to a semi-saline lake, crammed without a single jink. Gormless, leggy, clone-like stalks. Film crews working Tanzania who definitely had too much to drink, squandered reels of celluloid. Cranes standing in ponds, eating mini prawns or standing on one leg. Their beaks are upside down until they stick them in the water. Cut back to the lions, David, show me righteous, bloody slaughter. Tangled arteries, ruptured veins, gouting floods of crimson tides that painted gore-streaked glorious mains. Serengeti's grassy plains where species fortunes featured fickle to the seasons. Storms of rolling thunder hurled bands of driving vicious rain. Pristine washed the scarlet prides, drenched in liquid landscape, wilder wide Valhallan skies. Creatures captured through a lens these days more likely anthropized to flog insurance. Meerkats on their mobile phones or casting concrete fishing gnomes. Lip sync babies, self-obsessed. We zoologicize ourselves to ape celebrities in the jungle. Schadenfreude levels spike to ease the pain of Brexit, Poundland, austerity. A two-stream culture, tattoo branded, skint or landed, zealously englanded loyalty, obsessed by Normannic, Germanic royalty. Heraldic lions, George's dragons in yellows and blues, they wander the boot sales or shopping mall queues in same directional streams, blending in fast with the bovine masses, potential for predatory eyes. The fat cat insatiable schemers stalk our unblinkable screens, eagerly exploit our species, feeding from frenzies of terror and angst, seeding the creed of an angry self-doubt, not even sure what themselves are about, let alone the rest of us in the world about us. Thank you. Pilgrim. To wander abroad to help broaden the mind, a pilgrim by foot, over bridge or by ford, where the climate feels stranger each day, where the taverns and chapels that nourish our way, whether Bordean ballad or weary sword need on cold marble to pray. The woods that surround Transylvanian sounds, or the gardens around mosques, as the muezzin call drowns in the Levantine dusk. The Balkan Sobrani smells, oud tainted musk, sunlight shafts golden in Ottoman dust through the smoke of a Turkish bazaar. With one foot in front of another, we're bound to make tracks, as we're sure to go far. Nothing to lose, only memories to gain. While my limbs are yet strong, let's eschew the mundane, to embark on a windy night banded with rain, or a cross-channel ferry, then TGF train, reading Mark Twain or Paddy for More. Myself and my stick bag and boots tramping a vagabond trail in riparian meadows, in blossom, in bloom, where the shade of a pine lets me doze out the glare of a sintering high summer noon. This is my June poem that I mentioned earlier. It's called Gom Jabbar. Any June readers or likers in here? The thought of the weight of a swarm, skept to exploitable hive, heavy on honey recently gorged, thickly molten inside the wicker, where I desire to dip my hand within. Imagine the mass on my naked skin, a sensual interaction, pregnant with danger. Or a basket of freshly picked figs, only warm from the sun, inside with an infant asp. Glansome tranquil to calm my chimp, mustn't sweat or grasp to a fist, dismiss the stress, caress the serene, to thrive on a surge, feeling truly alive. That one. Catch 22. Catch 22. Itches, glitches in the construct. It's the glitches in the construct when we trip a deja vu, when we realign the sample to experience something new. In the stairwell of my father's flat, a smell came back through time of my brother's place in Gothenburg in 1979. Our construct can be what we will, or what we dare to find, only if only if, we stretch our thoughts to liberate our minds. To jamais vu, a different flavoured take on the sublime. You've seen it all before, but can't quite think it through. The system's jumped a groove and lost your thoughts in presque-vu. Have a loiter, take a linger, stick a curious finger round the patch to see what might be prized apart, potentially detached. It's in the kink's curvaceous jink. That's where the artist really had to think. I'm going to do two more. This one was interesting. My son told me he watched a documentary about dragon legend throughout the planet. All cultures have it. There's a theory as to why. And it's in this poem somewhere, if you can find it. It's called Nitro Express. Our species struggles yet to halt. Your planet's megafauna slaughter, raging as direct result of shrew-sized mammal throwback fear. A lizard legend, Angstgestalt. Wish now, fellas, had your gobs, tell stories through the heartbeat throbs of mice to monkey, proto-humans, reptiles caught then tore apart, are relatively dear departed. Bloodlines threaded deep time dreaders, memories jolt where serpents fed on sacrificial lonely virgins, filled their valleys, cliffside caves, smashed up skulls, crunched up bones. Your monarch still festoons his myths, elaborates his gilded homes and stories. Banners flapping, George's dragon, flutters streams off polished wagons. Presidents, moguls, czars and kings, steeped in glory from the hunt. Elephant, rhino, tigers, bears, scared by lackeys into the crosshairs of a Holland and Holland Nitro Express. And I'm going to finish with this one, which is the title poem to this pamphlet. Love's Last Remains. My love's last remains, contained above in hazel twisted basket. Heavy weight down, held apart barely by a weakened, rotten wicker casket. Threaded now through with new green root, searching deep, low and wide these tendrils run, wind into my right eye socket, writhing along, tracing my nutrient-bled trail down my back to my tail, vertebrae respined anew in strong sappy pine. My love above these winter heavy rains pushes down fast. Gravity drives our compost grave, our mortal coils unite, our skulls skewered along the same delving sprue, crush close as two. Ancient corporal frames tumble amongst, you are mine and mine is you. Mycorrhizal, gossamer quilted ribs, I often have observed your lungs, aspiring in the warm French air, amongst the breeze that caressed our billowing bedroom curtains. A last association of limbs entwined, entangled as our hair was wont. Subtle fungi, quiet at work, leeches to transfer calcific bony goodness to this living tree. Then glorious in this nascent spring, fresh and green, unfurled banners, waving in the wind, bathing in the warm white sunshine. Thank you very much for having me.
Nice one. We give another big applause for John Watson, please. Serena. Nice one. Our next poet tonight is Devjani Bodepudi. She is a writer, a poet, and a teacher of Indian origin who currently lives in Warwickshire. She has been published widely, including in Stanchion Zine, Sunday Mornings at the River, and Honey Guide. Amongst other things, Devjani has published a novel, Mirrors, which was published by Holland House in 2019, and a children's book, Paper Boats, which is forthcoming from Parakeet Books. Her debut poetry pamphlet, For the Daughters Carried Here on the Hips of Their Mothers, was published by Fawn Press early this year and has won the Saboteur Award 2023 for Best Poetry Pamphlet. So congratulations on that. She is currently studying for her MA in Creative Writing at the University of Birmingham and is working on her second collection. So could we give a big ovale welcome to Devjani Bodepudi.
Oh, by the way, thank you for murdering my second name. Yeah, so my name is Devjani Bodepudi. Most people call me Dev, it's easy. So I've got this pamphlet called For the Daughters Carried Here on the Hips of Their Mothers. The story behind this pamphlet is, well, it's me documenting the lives of, thank you, my grandmother, my mother, and the experiences of myself as well. So I'm just gonna go ahead and I'll read you the first poem, which is quite long. So that would mean I'll need to read less later on, hopefully. It's called You Left Something Behind, based on a true story on real life events. Okay. 1. You pack some of your clothes and your children's clothes in a large red bedsheet, printed with pink and orange flowers. You fold in the corners and tie them together. Your husband has already taken what he needs. You must handle the rest alone. 2. You scramble around the house, confused and dazed, searching for things that might be useful, things that you could sell. You've heard copper is more valuable than gold. You rush to the kitchen, collect the pots and place them in the trunk. Your eyes fall on the tulsi and the small gods upon the altar. You must leave them behind. 3. Your 3 small children are sleepy. They grizzle and sniff, but otherwise are quiet. You carry the youngest upon your hip, while the other 2 hold hands on the end of your sari to form a chain. You instruct them to never let go. You pay the servant who assures you that he will meet you with your things at the bank of the crossing. He tells you not to worry. You can only thank him and give him the keys to lock up the house where you became a mother 4 times over. You know that you will not return. 5. You walk a short distance and come across a caravan of shadow people. They are all heading towards the bank of the crossing. The night time is safer for such things. Of course, it is raining, so there is no moon, no stars, no light. And as you join the caravan of shadows, your inadequate 2 deer sandals that you bought at the bazaar slip and slide in the road that has become mud. You consider removing your sandals to remember this red-brown earth with the soles of your bare feet. 6. The children, as if sensing the need for patience, are still quiet, as stable and as good as gold. Even the youngest sleeps, mouth open and content, her head on your shoulder and arms wrapped around your neck. A shadow woman smiles and offers to hold her, and at first you refuse to let go, but soon you agree, because although the girl is light, she has become heavy, and your arms long to carry nothing. You are grateful as you hand her to the shadow woman. Eventually, you reach the bank. Your eyes search the dark for the servant who promised to bring your things, but there are too many shadows and you cannot see him anywhere. Shadows are already in the water. Shadows keep arriving. Shadows are pushing you forward. You must cross now. 8. The shadow woman who is holding your youngest is still smiling, and you wonder how. You must cross now, she says. But my things, you say. There is no time. There are only things. And in the back of your mind, you wonder if you have forgotten something important, but they are only things. 9. You are holding one child. The smiling shadow woman is holding the other, and out of nowhere is a shadow man who offers to carry the third across the river. The water is chest deep. You are already drenched from the rain. You step into the water and surrender. 10. It is cold. Like knives in the dark, and every step you make, you inhale sharply. You long to call out, but no one is making a sound except for the whispers of prayers to absent gods that drown with the swish, swish of the shadow bodies moving through the blackened water. 11. And finally you arrive on the bank of the crossing of the other side. The shadow couple hand back your children and rest them on the bank of the crossing of the other side. They walk away through the darkness, and you never thought to ask them their names. 12. You stand in the rain, twice soaked. You remember what it was that you forgot. Under your pillow, where you reach every night, where it is cool to the touch, is the gold of the bangle of your first child, the one who died. Thank you. Thanks. So a little note on the pamphlet. It is split up into 3 sections. The first section are all memories and experiences that I have learnt about my grandmother, or she's shared with me. We actually took the time to interview her because we were absolutely, convinced that she had things to tell us, and she wasn't saying anything because I think that generation have a lot that they've kept hidden and they've decided to bury and not really talk about. But it's all had an effect on everyone, so we needed to know. We needed to know where we came from and what she'd been through. So this is a poem about when she arrived in this country. And if you look at the pamphlet, there's a little bit of an Easter egg in there. I'm not going to tell you what it is. It's called You Are Home. You move through the kitchen, an exhalation, no longer seeing the orange and beige you adopted. You miss the smell of red earth, but understand tea here. The kettle, a squat matriarch upon the stove. And clinks of chipped china as you arrange new old paraphernalia of a ritual, old new, ending with sunsets so early they welcome ghosts, ever eager, outlined in snow. You shiver at the reflection in the window. How different to the endings you were accustomed to, only to learn that customs, like memories of a cherished garden, must grow anew many times a lifetime. How many times must you endure then the upheaval of transplantation and loss? Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to move on to the second section. The second section would probably be about my mother's experiences. Again, my mother's very tight-lipped about what she went through. And I kind of only came about through conversations we had when we were, sitting side by side or working side by side. She's in the kitchen, I'm helping her, and, suddenly these stories come out. It's never a direct kind of conversation. So this one is called A Fear of Snakes and Birds. You have a fear of snakes. But why? Your daughter asks. You can't remember, but you were told that you were bitten once in the place you came from long ago. You tell her this as you stir in the sugar to the syrup to make her father's favourite sweet that you cannot eat. But there are no snakes here, she reminds you, and it's true. There is nothing here to fear but birds, because birds can talk and cause commotion. They can fill your head with dreams of independence and a life outside these walls, and you have a fear of birds because they might carry you away. But no one ever leaves because they're only a little unhappy. And what would you do anyway? You ask the birds. So now you have a fear of snakes and letting your bare feet touch the glass-bound earth, and a fear of birds because you are afraid to touch the sky. I'm going to read you another poem from that section. It's fun. It's titled Paper Boats, like the children's novel, but it's got nothing to do with that. Not children's novel, the children's picture book. It's about, I'm just going to read it and you can make up your mind what it's about. Paper Boats. Your mother sits on her favourite chair by the bay window and watches the world go by. You have a million things to do and you're always in pain. You dust, vacuum, prepare her tea to listen to her complain about how it's all wrong anyway, about how you always fail to see, but you take a minute to ask, because that is how it is and always will be. And so you take that minute to ask what she watches with such intent, and she tells you. She notices how the birds balance on an unsteady branch that quivers in the December wind. She sees how Brian goes by now all alone, and that she hasn't seen his wife in some days. And of course, she sees the little boy from across the road who refuses to hold his mother's hand, and how the number 64 doesn't stop at our stop anymore. She doesn't tell you how she looks farther back to when paper boats carried her grief, how they teetered with the voices of her every lost child, how the warmth of their hands in hers as she pulled them along to force them to bathe or eat when they would rather have played. Thank you. I'm going to move on to the final section. I'm going to read you, every section comes with a little bit of a preamble about what the section is going to be about. So I'd like to think of these as little poems as well, so I'll read you that. And I suppose this one was the hardest to write, this section, because it's more about what I've experienced, what I've gone through, and it's a little bit hard to step away from that on the page and then confront what you're actually feeling. So this is called For the Granddaughters. For the granddaughters. You have come to know these lands, these fields, these streets, these trees, these birds like the very lines on your light brown palm. You wake to the same yellow sun and cry to the same blue songs on the radio, just like your Gora friends. You sometimes forget you aren't like them, and when they remind you, you are lost all over again. Thank you. So I'm going to read the final poem in that section. There is a more political poem, but because, I might save that for tomorrow, I don't know. So I'm going to read the final poem in this section. It's called Coconut Butterfly. Now, a coconut butterfly doesn't exist. I made it up just before you guys try Googling it, and so it's not real. Okay, coconut butterfly. Coconut butterfly, or Coco aspirans, often appear dull brown or black when in flight. However, they possess the unique ability to change colour when they come into contact with other butterflies of a lighter shade, belonging to a different species. Coconut butterflies often mimic the behavior of these other butterfly species so effectively that they have been known to be accepted into their social groups without suspicion. Graham and Knott et al., 1967, have also noted instances where the coconut butterfly has successfully mated with butterflies out of their species, something that is not at all common in the insect world. They are careful not to stand out from their surroundings for fear of discovery, possibly a latent evolutionary instinct as noted in the celebrated peppered moth. This is because it has been known for other butterflies to viciously attack and cast out any members outside of the species perceived to be a threat. You perfect prefect in your old private school where they discuss skiing over the break. You only eat with a knife and fork on porcelain plates, shunning the stainless steel which could never carry meals containing such little spice. Your palate is delicate. You prefer cheesy pasta or sausages and mash to the pungent dishes you are sometimes served by your mother, whose tongue, careless and demanding, you choose to be illiterate in. You abhor Bollywood, trite and contrived. You prefer Austen, a period drama where the lady is cotton white like you on the inside. But on the inside hides a shy brown girl, still uncertain about her place in the world, longing to be a Priyanka in a world where Elizabeths and Edwards are in control and pastel shaded. You are well versed in great works you aspire to, but you wish you could relate to the books your father reads and the songs of revolution he sings, and you savor your mother's food made with a saute of a certain spice blend, offered in perfect hillocks and mounds only to be taken with your deft fingers, and you worry, were you ever really good enough to pass for what they wanted? Thank you. So I think I've got a couple more minutes. So this new collection that I'm writing, I'm going to try out a couple of poems on you, if that's okay. So I want you to imagine that, I love the fact that Ireland is steeped in mythology and folklore, and it's something that I'm very interested in as well. So I've been doing my own research. I've been looking back at Indian mythology and Indic mythic traditions, and I've kind of done a bit of a mix and match. I've kind of used a gorgon who's got wings, but also I'm using the Indian pantheon of gods like Brahma and Agni and Jatayu. So these are all they're all there in Indian sort of Sanskrit literature. And so I want you to imagine a mother who's a virgin, who's given birth to an abomination. And so I'm gonna, but before, so basically what I've done is I've split up the book again into sections. So the first section is just about the beginning of it all, before the birth. I slept for most of the day, spilling out over months until little remained contained except the bulging, threading theories in the community sports field. Chalky mornings fizzed. People talked in vinegar tones on and around the school run, walking their dogs with time to conjecture and evaluate the state of me. When I wasn't sleeping, I'd fixate on the outside, marked by arrow lines. Inside, concrete rotations mimicked a hole. The outside sauntered in and through unsealed gaps between fraying nets like silverfish. Okay, so I don't know. Okay, so one more poem, and I think I'll read you the one I'm most proud of, actually, the final one. I interpret this as when you give birth to a child, or when you have a child, they become you, you become them. There is very little left of yourself, which is sad but true. So this is called Response. In the crook of her elbow between each lash, dilating and contracting her pupils in response to my presence, blowing and puckering to gather her in to a darkening where there are no sharps. I enveloping her like putty, she molds me at the edge she needs until there is no space for light, until I'm upturned and hollowed out, becoming the outline of her. Thank you. Sorry, I just want to say one more thing. We arrived here Monday morning, this morning, 10 o'clock, it's still Monday. It feels like, I don't know. But anyway, we arrived here and it's just been a bit of a whirlwind, but you guys have been so hospitable and so kind and so generous. And thank you, Paul. And thank you, Brendan, for showing us around. It's been absolutely amazing. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Devjani. Nice one. And just to add that both of our guests have books for sale, so if you would like to purchase a book, I'm sure you can chat to them about that. So you'd have to chat to them. Yeah, you'd have to chat to them about that. I'm not 100% sure. But just before we take a little break, we're going to take a little 10-minute break now. Before the open mic, but can we just give one more huge round of applause to Devjani, Bodepudi and John Austin. Unreal lads, and forces and forces, and give them all this. I still have the open mic list. There's still a few blank spots here on the open mic list. If you would like to sign it, come and talk to me. We're going to take 10 minutes and we're going to be back to the open mic. Thanks a lot. How are you, mate?
Take the opportunity.
What's going on?
Good
to see you. How are you feeling? Very well, mate. This way. How are you fixing the festival?
Good. Which festival?
Drum Sambo.
Oh yeah, are you coming up?
You're involved in it?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I'm going to be, hopefully, it's the beginning of the new year, the last weekend, 24th, 25th, 26th. Hopefully, it's only living in Clovis at the moment, I do live in Clovis. Oh yeah, so it's not that far away. Yeah. So if I am up there that weekend, I'll definitely come there. I'm looking to get Cork on the
Connor has Connor has accommodation if you want to put in €60 a night. But I tried a van. Well, you have a van, you're right. Yeah, just in case you need someone to stay. Yeah. It's impossible in Shambo. Oh yeah. I'll be there Thursday night and Friday night and maybe Saturday night. But we have our films on Friday night. Yeah, Friday and Thursday night. That's. It's in 2 weeks' time, like. Poetry on Friday night. Roisin Kelly is reading, and a bunch of other people, and the poetry film is on Friday night, and blind, so if you could come to that, it'd be brilliant. Crowd for that.
Yeah. I love that.
Connor will get a place to take €60 if you're interested.
Right.
So just keep that.
Otherwise, like, if I was
let me know.
I could just
if you're happy with that, go for that.
See what way I go, but I definitely want to come there and see it, and we're playing team together with the schedule and all that. Yeah. Anyway,
All right, we're talking. No, it'd be brilliant if you could.
Oh, man, I'd love to bring it up there. Totally.
I have put my name down there, but I'm going to do a piece with somebody else. So
Okay.
it's Alexandra Corner, and it's a spoken word piece about the country.
Oh, class. No, definitely. There's a PA in there, I don't know, like you probably plug in the instruments into the PA, or else we could try and set up another mic for you or something.
Walk with that.
Okay. No bother. So what's the name? Alexandra?
Alexandra Gordon.
Okay, perfect. Nice one, Gordon.
Unlike someone's kidnapped by a mandolin case. Haven't seen it for a while. I know. Are you doing well? Busy doing nothing. Did you move house? The house it's still going there. I looked at one yesterday. Perfect location. They're down in spoken word now, we don't know. Always right.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think it is. I'd be afraid to chance it because it's too old. I'm all against
Stop supporting. Well, I don't
No, I forgot to take my laundry out of the machine, so I took care of my laundry, and then I responded to messages, and then I had a phone call, and time for 5. Wow.
After Cedric.
I know.
Fóta Rasharísh. Tá Mike Osculta. How are we all? Very good. Hanging in there. Huh? Hanging in there. Very good. Very good. Yeah, we are going to start into the open mic there, and it gives me great pleasure to introduce Mr. Stanley Knott.
Thanks, Kieran, and thank you for that over-enthusiastic round of applause. My ego has suitably adjusted on the strength of it. Now, before I read, a couple of things. So, myself and Paul have been working on ideas in the last couple of months about expanding the Ovale empire. And one of the things we had an idea about was introducing a range of merchandise. So we worked on a number of ideas, and Paul is not just a poet, he's pedantic, he's precise, and he's very precise when it comes to products. So I produced these mugs with the Ovale logo on them. This one has the Winter Warmer 2023 on it. And I produced matching coasters. And then Paul said the logo's wrong. That's the old version, Stan, get your fucking act together. So I took the feedback, stroke criticism on the chin. I went away and redid them again with a logo. Now I haven't done new mugs and I haven't done new coasters yet. There is another surprise to come. But then Paul said to me, what the fuck are we going to do with these? They're no good to fucking anybody, they've got the wrong logo on them. And I said to him, you're not thinking about it correctly, Paul. These are collector's items. These are the equivalent of Star Wars faulty toys released that are now worth millions of dollars. So what we decided to do very, very quickly just before tonight started was that we would present these to our 2 visiting Coventry poets. We won't ask you to come up. We're actually gonna, I left my delivery jacket at home, but I'll do delivery service just for tonight. Now, for those of you who now feel left out, this is the correct logo on the brand new first 2 items in the Ovale merchandise range. For those dark winter nights when you might be attending the Winter Warmer Ovale Festival, you can purchase a beanie cap. Dirt cheap at €15. And you might be looking for something for the summer. And you can have a matching baseball cap in Now, enough selling bullshit. I'll just show you my poetry collection, self-published last year. Don't dig it out very often, only every time I'm reading. I'm not selling them, but I will gladly swap a copy of this with you for €15. So it's in my head, this is a tradition. When the Coventry guys come, I read the poem that I wrote when I was asked to go to Coventry in 2017 with Kieran. We had a great trip over there. And the little story behind it is that most people, I'd imagine, when they're asked to go to Coventry, immediately think of that phrase, he's been sent to Coventry. I didn't. I thought of an interview with Terry Hall of the Specials that I read in Smash Hits in 1980 when he was asked what was it like growing up in Coventry. And his response was, Coventry is a shithole. Nobody should ever go there. So I wrote a poem using song titles from the Two Tone label. There's a bit of a cheat in there because bands like The Beat and Madness only released one single on that label before moving on to other labels, but I've used lots of them in it. This is called Spirit of 79, and my thought process around it was that around that time when the Two Tone movement began, I don't know about you guys actually, but here for my friends it was a hugely important movement. They educated us about racism because racism wasn't a thing in Ireland, mainly because we were all white. Although the Kerry people would tell you differently, they probably said we were being racist to them. And in that period of time, this country and the UK was actually falling fucking apart, as you probably well know. And actually the Specials Ghost Town record, which is a legendary record, was written after they had done a tour of England, and it was written about what they'd witnessed in cities around England and the deprivation that was going on and the mood that was around the cities. So this tries to encapsulate that. This is called Spirit of 79. Every Friday night and Saturday morning when the young at heart come together to twist and crawl out on the streets, this dirty old town drowns in hairspray, blank expressions, bright lights and alcohol, the sole salvation of the young, the black and the gifted. At 4 a.m, Jeanette, a skin-haired girl, she's going, they're all out to get you, they're all out to get you. While bad boys make monkey man noises, their requiem for a black soul over and over again. Why, you're wondering now, does this concrete jungle do nothing but drop pressure to get a job on the rat race? Why, you're wondering, is free Nelson Mandela on my radio? Why does the government man believe our land of hope and glory can promise this ghost town better must come, when the dawning of a new era is such a long shot? When every day, the young, the black and the gifted hear the mirror in the bathroom whisper, I can't stand it. They're selling out your future. And prospects are mere calling cards for the government whose overture of it's up to you to get a job. What's that? Is an embarrassment when our house has no money and tomorrow's dream is forever one step beyond tomorrow being just another grey day. So shut up, Mr. Government Man. You don't know like I know that in the middle of the night the shadow of fear is the only noise in this world. How the doors of my heart tighten up when the whine and grind of facing situations too much for one too young tells me my dream is in deep water. How when dawn arrives, I get busy, doing nothing, every day. Saturday night, Sunday morning, the lonely crowd on the streets again. This, believe me, is their dream. Running away from the everyday with a night on the tiles. Running away from situations too much for one too young. Running away from the madness of the mirror in the bathroom whispering, I can't stand it, I can't stand it. I just can't stand it. So if you are a music fan like I am, well, I'm more than a music fan, I'm fanatical. It's been a tough couple of months for Irish music fans particularly. The sad loss of Christy Dignam, swiftly followed by the sad loss of Sinead O'Connor, who was a phenomenal artist and activist. And it's been really interesting for me to watch the love and affection that's been projected for her, which is amazing. But I also know that there's a whole load of people that are expressing that love and affection were nowhere to be fucking seen when she was shouting about the different problems that she was dealing with. And some of them were laughing and slagging her when she had the videos about her mental health up on YouTube. That's got nothing to do with this poem. This poem was written about 1.5 years ago. And it was written using Sinead O'Connor's song titles. And it's called Be Still. May she rest in peace. Deeper down, when you put your arms around me, say, I believe you. You do something to me, make me feel so free, so different. In this heart, a heroine pens love letters on scarlet ribbons to the universal mother, and out of the depths, something beautiful comes, talks to me, says my troubles will soon be over, and I'll be singing a tiny grief song in the healing room, where all my apologies will jump in the dense water of River Jerusalem, and 100,000 angels will take my hand, break through my darkest midnight mind games, until sweet divinity sends someone to watch over me, and almighty love makes me a channel of your peace.
Good reading. Next, we're going to go online to Pam Campbell, please.
Hey, can y'all hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. This is a cento, and for those of y'all who may not know what a cento is, normally speaking, you would take lines from other poets' poems and you create a poem from that. But I happen to have the great pleasure of being in a novel workshop with an incredible writer by the name of David Joy, and he's a poet novelist. So my thank you to him was I took lines from all of his novels that I had read and I created a poem from it. So here we go. It's called 4 Fingers of Whiskey and a Gas Station Cigar. 7 miles busting ass and cracking skulls. Sun was going down. Silence washed his mind empty, dizzied the air. Canny Fork General Store parking lot empty. Paid cash for 3 tall boys of bush ice, 60 cents shy. Round was chambered, safety thumbed away. Wet sack of shit. For God's sake, son. Squeeze between the heartbeats, but the wind was wrong. Rain bled over the dusty windshield. Graves took all night to dig, 7 in all, stripped to their gray bones, blood on their mouths, stained dark at the knees, dug by a dozen pair of hands. Katydids wailed reminders and remembrances. Breath burned white, hung on the air, warped into jowls, stiffening howls, removed the one time he heard, I love you. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Pam. Next to the open mic, we're going to have Justin J. Fisher. Oh, sorry. Jason J. Fisher. Sorry. You've abbreviated your names and I've just forgotten.
Counselor here on the
Shit.
project.
It's been a terrible night. A terrible night it is.
I thought everyone knew it was Jason J. Fisher, but
no, I did. I did know once.
All right. The abyss, the void, essentially existential. The void, the abyss. Trust me, I'm fully aware that it exists. For some, it causes endless 1,000-yard stares and anxiety-arousing, hard-harried fits. It's because they're scared of this. Nothingness. Some avoid the void, praying it can be missed. Some are destroyed by the void, dancing a dance they can't resist. And some toy with the void and cut through all that white noise to write joy with the void. Knowing that we all eventually rejoin with the void. And they never stop, hoping to do it all before becoming another drop in the ocean. And I could try and pretend that we don't all die in the end. But instead, I say, we smile with our heads held high and toast the night sky, my friends. My Instagram is words by JJF, Jason J. Fisher. Thank you so much.
last time MCing O'Vale, so I hope you remember it. I hope you remember me. Sorry, never mind. Yeah. Frank. Could we have Catherine Ronan, our 5-word challenge winner, to the mic, please?
Thank you, everyone. Great night. This poem is called Feathers. In the market bar, you fill my forehead with tarring, shaving, exorcism sticking to the roof of your mouth, spitting stories of St. Kevin's. God, you are exciting. Sweeney turned mad after war stamped his eye, strayed in nakedness before trees embraced him. I eagle you again, cup your warm swallow's laugh. Trust this crow eye, I will feather you home.
Thanks a lot, Catherine. Nice one. We're going to go online again, and we're going to have Sufango. Another mistake. Another note.
I have a short poem, another short poem. So the first one is titled.
We can't really hear you very clearly there, Sufango, so I'm not sure.
Okay.
Can you, maybe if you lean into the microphone a little bit more?
Yeah, can you hear me now? All right. So yeah, good evening once again. I have a short poem and another shortish poem. I just came across them in my phone diary. This one is titled Stars. Stars, shining our warmth through the freezing nights, vanishing with the rise of the scorching sun. We pour out our pain, they clap and ululate. Our darkest days pass with checks in the mail or polls that pay us because they enjoyed how we described great-grandfather's day. We are broken inside, yet standing tall because we know that growth is all we do. We know that stagnation is the field where darkness breeds. So yeah, that's that. So this next poem is a poem I wrote in collaboration with my uncle Zomkonto, who was a poet as well. It speaks about Gukurahundi, which is a time when people were killed just for being a different, for speaking a different language in Zimbabwe. So yeah, I wrote this poem. It has a bit of Isindebele in it, so please forgive me. I can't provide a translation of those words yet, but I'm sure you're gonna feel them. Azibuthanga qotho ngalobiyana busuku ezikamoyo. Zabongolela zabudonsukusa bungela kukhanya busiza lendubo zabo. Ukufa kwakungenile ekhaya kwayishaya kwayithintithi inhloko yomuzi yasala izicuco kwezintathu inkomo ezahlatshwa leyo mini. Angimazanga ukhokho ngimuzwa ngendaba. I only know my great-grandfather through tales. The Anunnaki denied me conversation with my great-grandfather. Yet I still see him when I close my eyes, bodiless foot struggling to free itself from the cow dung, lifeless face echoing screams of, I haven't done nothing, I don't diss no president, I'm just trying to feed my family. Ngitshela uqabukani imvelaphi yakhe, izizukulwane zilobe emaphepheni, but no. The screams fell on deaf ears as many did back then. 5 fire brigade trucks and still the heart turned to ashes. Now here I am, robbed of a third of my history, writing angry poems for you to snap and leave them tense without asking how I feel. Can't you hear the disconnect in these carefully crafted lines? I am not me. Thank you, everyone. Peace.
Thanks so much. Thank you so much. What a performance, man. Fucking hell. Fair play.
Just to remind you, when you're talking to him, like, this is your
Oh, yeah, sorry. Thank you so much for that. Well done. It was a real pleasure to hear that. Next up to the open mic, we're going to have Roxanne.
I'm gonna make you work on your languages again, but this time this is Spanish. So who speaks Spanish here? Okay. I'll go as slowly as I can. So I think, well, many people know that I travel a lot, and 17 years ago I spent a year in Mexico, and it happened that this week there was a group of Mexican dancers that came to Cork. They had some workshops, and I happened to be free for their performance Saturday and Sunday night, and I was mind blown. And I came back home, and I dreamt of them last night. I was like, I need to write. And I actually wrote this just before coming here. So it's not finished, it's just, but yeah. So it's in Spanish, it's called La Fieras. It's the beast in English, but like these women that are just so strong, so powerful, and so just increíbles. Así. Cada rato, cada minuto, la vida nos sorprende. Da oportunidades, manda recados, susurra de no olvidar. Y para eso, usa todos los medios posibles. Una notificación, un evento, un ¿por qué no? Empieza un viaje hasta las raíces, pero no sabes lo que te espera. Entras, te sientas y poco a poco aparecen 13 camaleones, morenas, hermosas, poderosas, victoriosas, espectaculares. Bailan, empujan sus cuerpos con una pasión que no se puede, que no se debe ignorar. Y yo me quedo sin palabras, impresionada al ver el control de cada movimiento. Idas y vueltas de colores, de canciones, de voces, sostenidas por continuo zapateo, su arma de predilección. Bailan, critican, se revoltan, enseñan un país de fuego, de contrastes, de corrupciones, de historia. Pasado y presente, mundos opuestos que se mezclan. Mosaica de un México al cual pertenezco, de quien soy hija. Maravillosa adopción. Un México que amo inmensamente. Regreso a casa, soñadora y agradecida. El corazón late más fuerte, lleno de nuevas conexiones. Viva México. Thank you very much.
Excellent. We have Patricia Walsh next, please.
no creatures allowed. Swallow the pill, take the bait, garnish to satisfaction. This barricade converses with the time it's set. The imitation of Christ, realistic to a fault. Standing alone, the quality never fails to renege. Love beyond measure, a pitfall deciding. The ruin of ambition cascades all gone before. Sinking your poison rots your noble sense. The white chain of progress cascading in a bitter pill. Fingering the dustbin of related sin. The bearded invitation costing much to consider. Doing something about hardcore, stay where you are. Cracking the heart goad to common decency. Appropriating an inspiration further before time. Changing weather an excuse to depart. Common sense guilt feeling its own way home. Appropriating home life and occupation unscathed. Standing apart for protection, unnerved. Chanting psychosis like today never existed. Holding euphoria's hands like another joke. Knowing more than let on, a check in sobriety. Saying nothing to the tide debates, gone cold. Kissing an obvious gesture lost in some. Burning discrimination on likewise traits. Discounted affairs, thundered like damnation. Mean feats calculated, the consummate con job. Thanks.
Thanks a lot, Trish. We have Margaret Regan next, please.
This is very short. I have no title for it yet. Your scent lingers. The pillow remembers. I sleep in your essence.
Nice one, Margaret. Could we have Billy Ramsell next, please?
This poem is called The Fisherman. There's one who'd have your throat out. It's about 3 fishermen. That's nice, really. There's one who'd have your throat out with a billhook as soon as look at you, and one who spills a lengthy, surreptitious rum into his coffee cup, his laughter lengthier, more ancient than these waves that rinse the mooring places, and a third, scarce out of his apprenticeship, who with his silken knife disaggregates mackerel after mackerel, skirting gills and platinum, depositing the slop and bone deftly in his rust-crusted bucket. Oh, take me with you, fishermen, as soon as the tide turns seaward, and though it take 12 years or more, teach me knots and salt and balance, till out beyond Cape Creus somewhere, beyond the Medes, off the coast of Oristano, I'm swaying and sure-footed as the snug boards tilt beneath me, till I've cast into the Mediterranean all I know of Raman Lull and Cavalcante, of etchings, wine and porcelain, till I'm utterly untalkative and physical. Then I'll press my hands, rope-bitten, ready against the coral-coloured interface of dawn. Then I'll speak only in salt, only in the oscillating dialects of water. Then I'll step forward, then I'll begin.
Thanks, Lapoli. Cheers, man. Next, we're going to go back online. We're going to have Massimo.
He heard it.
I can only hear some tunes playing, but I can't hear your voice.
Oh yeah.
So all of the words. Everything that thing just feel it. And your voice is not. And now I've delay on my voice.
Okay. Is this any better? Oh, okay. Thank you so much. So I was gonna try to do something to some music, but another time. So sorry to take up your time. So just jump into a different piece real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna find another piece that I can do spoken word. Sorry for the delay, everybody.
Fear not, man. Fear not. We had a good bop. Everybody enjoyed it.
Beautiful. All right. So, a story of a person, but the person tells the story. But I must remember I'm a person, not a story. Stories of my making lie behind me and before me. But I must remember words were after, not before me. So I rhyme to a rhythm, keeping rhythm with the rhyme. Without the beat, I use the words to signature the time. Verses aren't pitch or picture perfect, but that's fine. Attempts at artistry that do no harm are not a crime. Dreams may be real, but the real is not a dream. Like steam is only air, but air is more than only steam. Life must be perfect now, whatever it may seem. Like a cloth that has no edges must have a seam. Creativity may seem like it's creation, but trees in the mind are not the trees in creation. 'Cause trees that I dream in my dreams may keep changing, but outside, the real trees are still here remaining. Flowers grow, so I stroll around the flowers. It stirs a feeling in my heart, and then it flowers. May I always feel this feeling with or without flowers, even though I couldn't copy one with all my powers. 'Cause I am not grown up, I'm a child, who after growing up just wants to grow back to a child. Even birds nurse their little birds a little while before they let them fly to face the sky like they were styled. The clouds in the sky may seem high, but when I look up, in a way, so am I. Clouds may pass like a day going by, but the sun is still here, no how, only why. All rain is water, but not all water's rain. How else can the sea reach a crop on high plain? The same water called up is called down again to rinse off the world with no faucet, no drain. So I gaze out of the window where the rain lands. The sound plays on the window like pain pans. Real life's better than my best laid plans, which lets me know somehow my world's in safe hands. They may say anything is possible, but thank goodness not everything is probable. To exist is a choice that isn't optional. So how could wanting anything but what is good be plausible? That's why my love of life is not a sin. I cannot speak for you because it's my love where I begin, who held me high, long, deep, and wide through thick and thin. When there was no one else to shut me in, shut me out, or lay in. I'm just a poet, but this poet isn't me. I record these thoughts, then turn them off, and then I'm free. The voice is just a parcel of the person you would see, and the person's just a branch of who I am. I'm like a tree. So I live my life and tell a story, but I am the liver of the life and not the story. Stories of my making lie behind me and before me, but I must remember words come after, not before me. Thank y'all so much. Peace.
Thanks a lot, Massimo. Could we have Ovale's own Brendan Duffin next, please?
How's it going? This is class. Yeah, I'm going to give some fairy music for our friends from Coventry. It's based on two old names for Ireland, Innis Ealga and Innis Fal. So we'll start off with a poem. Innis Ealga, the noble island. The fear bullock name for Ireland. Innis Fal, the Isle of Destiny. The Tuatha name for our homeland. White evening cloud keep me pure, loch water be my mirror. White evening cloud keep me pure, loch water be my mirror. Freshness of air after rain, bring me back to the present. Flashing white moving branches, teach me your secret language. Mountain hair, teach me to be swift, to act against my indifference. Teach me to tread lightly on my path, to avoid the snares of greed. Slave honored, steady us, Bemble ban, steady us. Green, green Ireland, give us strength to justly, rightly respect every stone circle and mound, every dome and cairn and raft. Every woman, child and man, every creature of your isle, homeland in your every guise, nobility burning shines, present in the newborn baby's eye, present in the pike of the ban, present in the golden road of Cork, present in the sky of Ishnock. Mount Leinster, steady us, Binabrac, steady us. No song, poem, currency, religion, culture, person, people, flag can ever lay claim to her old Erin, unbroken peak of Carrauntoohil, shores of Innistraw, Inishturk, Rockabill, ever Innis Fal, Innis Ealga, fertile, unfading, green beacon of the seas, fertile, unfading, green beacon of the seas, fertile, unfading, green beacon of the seas. Thank you.
Hot, Brendan. Hot. Nice one. Thanks a lot for that. Good meet up. Lads, we do have a hefty list of people to get through here, so just keep that in your thoughts as you're performing for the next little while. Next up to the open mic, we have Michelle DeLay.
Nice one. I have a very quick plug, but I also have a very quick poem to go with it. My documentary film is up at the moment in the Crawford Gallery for the next 4 weeks. It's about Cork City. It's about a roadway they were going to build in Cork in the 60s and the young architects that opposed it successfully. I'd love, if you got a chance to see it, I'd love to get your feedback because we might be doing some more work on it. So that's that. And now here's a short poem, something a bit different. Ghosted, singed, snubbed, stepped and dubbed over, rubbed out, thrown overboard, thrown up and thrown out. spat out, set free, found loose, found out, set up, lit up, let down, ready, upset, go again, let me again, go, lay me down, let me, don't go getting up, already set again, don't again, I'm ready again, go again, again, again. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Michelle. Nice one. Next, we're going to have Colm Scully, please.
So this stuff is brilliant here tonight, really. So I'm going to read something really old, and it's fantastic. All the brilliant stuff here tonight. But this is from my collection, which is out a bunch of years ago. It's the title poem, "What New Centurions," which is about Cork City. So the reason I'm reading it is because I have an exhibition coming up actually on the 14th of September, on Thursday 14th of September, in St. Peter's Church in North Main Street. And I have a load of poems written about Cork City, and those poems will be with paintings of landscapes of Cork City by my friend John Corkery, brilliant painter, and I'd love you to come along, and Rosie knows him, and come to the launch night actually, which is on the 14th of September. It'll run for 2 weeks then, but come on the 14th at 8 p.m. and the Lord Mayor will actually be opening it as well. So look forward to that now, and we'll actually be producing a pamphlet as well of the paintings and the poems. So I'd love to have everyone come. And it's "What New Centurions," which was the title poem from this collection. What new centurions? What new centurions? What news of Cork? Only the mossied green pavements and the tired slabs. The gullies wandering into iron grates, whose imprints solemnly betray their age, cast in Bristol or in Harrogate. Only the uncouth houses on the narrow streets, the shambles skylines with a hint of grey, the topsy-turvy roofs and gable ends, crawling up hills in ever-varying lines. Even the new and clean edifice confounds the eye. The glass constructs in blue metal frames, tarpaulin green copper domes and plates, vie with exotic timbers in panelled walls. None of them know their place amid the red and white sand and limestone structures of the past. Aspiring towers cast long shadows in the river. Elysian dreams, well short of Elysium. What of its people? What news of them? As you left them, Consul, except they've changed. Swollen in numbers since your last campaign. Now every tongue on earth can be heard. Close your eyes on Marlborough Street and listen. I hear them, the tongues mixing. The brittle patter of pana with the foreign threads. I know their songs so well and ask, are they as happy with their newfound wealth? Their ivory towers, their elegant lanes. They are still a rough and tumble people, children of country folk a generation gone. Crude laughter still falls hard from open windows. Sarcasm envelops their muddled talk. They still walk with the unsure gait of deprivation, though decades have fallen since it held them in its grasp. Their sad eyes and rough, ruddy faces speak more of past news than of the now. They celebrate as well as ever. When their teams win, crowds gather in Dawn Square. They sing and drink high praise into the early hours, then leave the forlorn reign with dingy streets, strewn with detritus.
Thanks a lot. Next, we're going to go online there, and we're going to have Rafe Boylan, who's a friend of this exchange for a long time. He was Rafe and I and Stan were having a great old laugh when we were over in Coventry. He's the organizer on the Coventry side. Oh, now he's right. There you go. He is organising this on the Coventry side. So a big Ovale welcome for Rafe. Good to see you.
I'll do a really short one because I know what it's like when you're trying to squeeze them in at the end of the night. Just like, hello, John and Devjani, glad you made it, and hello, lovely court people. I'll just play my little sympathy card. It's my birthday today, and I'm home with a toothache, so I've not been out. So it's really, yeah, thank you. So it's really nice to be in the pub with you guys. Yes, at least I can say I went to the pub in Ireland, so it's all right. So really, really short. It's not got a title. Looking after a body that's trying to bail on you is a full-time job where time off means failure. Retirement is death and the pension's crap. Your body is a cage. Wanting to live is the trap. Cheers.
Thanks, Rafe. Nice to see you again. And it would be great if we could all follow Rafe's lead in having nice short introductions. Keep your introductions as brief as you can and let your poem introduce itself. Yeah, that's it. Sue Blue is next, please.
So this poem, it's an honor to be here. This poem I wrote in view of being part of the Coventry Exchange this year. And so I'm hoping that this is going to be part of the booklet. So it's a celebration of freedom. No desire. Muscles move to music. Melodies resound in the spine. Each tiny fibre quivers, in every cell a breaking smile. So grateful for owning my body, following rhythm and flight. Shiny, shiny, gleaming, right here, now, no desire. No desire, no desire. No desire but to be in this moment of existence. No requirement to touch or see, not waiting for another, no urge of nature nor of need. Eyes closed, my essence dances, enjoying this sensual trance. No attention, no desire. No desire, no desire. Complete within myself and completely in myself. My love is all giving, delight without thirst, the euphoria of no request, unrequited without yearning, feeling other people spark, wishing blessings upon all, no distraction, no desire. No desire, no desire. Seeking no body but mine, scenting no fragrance but all. No pheromones dictate the vibe, no flow that picks my perfume, no peak that craves attention, no wanting searching the ride. All satisfaction lies within. No desire, on my own, flying. No desire, no desire. The ecstasy of the world comes after fertility's follies, free of biology drive. Creative powers released, creation unimpeded, no cycle, all forward, all joy. Right here, right now, no desire, the bliss of no desire. Just me, just free.
Thanks a lot. Nice one. Well done. Could we have Cedric be called next?
So this one was written in 2016. It's inspired of a memory of childhood, wanting to play with my sisters and Barbies. I hope they never see this, but if they do, no ill will, and that's the title of the poem. No ill will. Shh, shh. The banter goes on between the two girls. The improvised beauty salon happens to disregard the other one in the room as he peeks their way, envious of their fun. Shh, shh, goes the hairspray. He looks away, they laugh. He frowns, they laugh some more. He wants in. The boy grinds his teeth as he sighs away. Shh, hairspray. It reeks of a sweet chemical smell. The mass of dolls close all over the place. The sound of their voices wastes his patience. Shh, shh. The girls have noticed the angry puppy. They care not, however. After all, the age gap gauges the might of the jailers. Shh. A short pause, two smiles, and predatory stares. Hardly contained, the young beast claims his frustration with anger for being deemed bad company for his gender. Shh. 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 The smell chokes out the protest. Shh. The sexist rebuttal opens the cage of guilt, which in turn breaks the male to be. Shh. Spray and giggles. Shh. Sprayed and neutered.
Fantastic read. Next one. And next we're going to have a real treat, a bit of music and a bit of poetry from Fergus Casella and Alessandra Corno.
This piece is called Conversation with the Vampire.
Not to be confused with Interview with the Vampire, which is a novel by Anne Rice and was turned into an Oscar-winning movie by Neil Jordan, starred Brad Pitt, Tom Cruise, Christian Slater, Antonio Banderas, and all the way from Belfast, our very own Stephen Ray.
But this has got nothing to do with our story.
So wipe all those pictures from your minds right now. We would not want you to be confused, and we would not want Neil Jordan ringing us up in the morning calling us plagiarists.
Because we don't like being called plagiarists in the morning. Especially not by Neil Jordan. That's way too early for us.
So sit back, relax, as we present for you special directors called Blu-ray edition, box set, HD ready, 3D ready.
Are you ready?
For the horror cult classic,
Conversation with the Vampire.
2002, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 and 8. I was living alone in cold, freezing, rented accommodation, waking up in the middle of the night, freezing cold, all on my own, contemplating living for the rest of my life in cold, freezing, rented accommodation. So I went into my bank, my friendly Anglo-Irish bank, and I said,
Any chance of a small mortgage for a small house with maybe a small shed out the back?
We don't do things like that. He said, we only do big mortgages for 2 or more big fuck-off houses. Use your head, he said. Get 20 beds thrown into a house with 20 foreign fellas, 20 of their sisters, they'll pay the mortgage for you. Cop yourself on, think like a banker. Excuse me, I said, I do not want to think like you. I do not want to live like some blood-sucking vampire. If I was a vampire, I said I'd retire. I'd be like Brad Pitt, I'd live in a chicken shack, suck on rats, but I don't want to be a vampire actor or retired.
I came in here looking for a small mortgage for a small house with maybe a small shed out the back.
Well, I've changed my mind, I said. I don't want the shed. Heaven forbid, I said, I wake up some morning, look out the back and find Brad Pitt living in my shed with vampires sucking on rats.
I came in here looking for a small mortgage for a small house with maybe a small shed out the back.
Small shed, I said, not an intergalactic shed. Not some place for Tom Cruise to entertain his friends from outer space. Not some handy outside location for
Neil Jordan.
Shoot some iffy adaptation starring for the umpteenth time.
Stephen Ray.
Again.
Looking all lost and confused.
Again.
I do not want Stephen Ray looking lost and confused in my shed. I said. I came in here looking for a small mortgage for a small house with maybe a small shed out the back.
Forget it, I said, forget it. I don't want the mortgage. I don't want the house, sure as hell do not want a shed that's so jam-packed you can't even swing a cat. Wait. Pitt, making no sense whatsoever, talking through his top hat to
Christian Slater.
telling him no end of cock and bull stories about hanging out with colonies of vampires sucking on colonies of rats, with a colony of aliens hanging out the rafters in pods, being entertained by
Tom the Lula Cruz.
and the health and safety officers from North Tipperary giving me dogs abuse, and Stephen, God help us Ray, looking all
lost and confused again.
And
Antonio.
I'm so absolutely gorgeous.
Banderas.
Wearing a ridiculous pawn shop Halloween wig that even a 2-year-old child could not possibly believe was real. And
Neil, I'm so deep, Jordan.
all introspective and conceptive with a camera up his yin yang, making mythical movies about inner conflict and ambiguous identity.
For God's sake. I draw the line at aliens at my shed.
Bad enough, I said. Hey, I said. It's like this, I said. I've changed my mind completely about all this stuff, I said. I do not want the master of metaphor making hidden meaning movies of me with my alter ego hanging out and beaming the pictures up to Planet Zog. I do not want to be the first interplanetary skinflake superstar with pictures of me being beamed far out into space. I do not want to disgrace my mother. She's 91, I said.
91. And she's never seen an intergalactic skinflake, and I don't want her to see one. And I sure as hell do not want her to see her son staring one.
With my alter ego hanging out, and I do not want to be voted #1 on the late night Arctic farty charts up on Planet Zog.
Who the hell do you take me for at all?
Obviously, you have one serious problem with your ears. You have not heard one single word that I said.
I said.
Listen to me now, listen to me good, get it through your money-lending, blood-sucking head.
I came in here, looking for a small mortgage, for a small house, with a small shed out the back.
Cancel that completely. Just give me a tiny term loan.
I'll buy me a one-man tent instead, I said. I've got
Principles. And I walked out there not long after that with my head held high.
And in my pocket, I had enough money to buy me a small country and half a dozen housing estates.
And that, my friends, is what makes this country great. And that, my friends, is what makes this country great. And that, my friends, is what makes this country great.
Could we have Sean Dunn next, please? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
How we doing? This one was written on a Sunday, if that tells you anything. It's called The Afters. The moon is up to death the sun, and everyone is terrified of birds and front room floors. The fours and fours and fours and fours of tired songs through bathroom doors like glue. Where's murder on the dance floor? We come up so high, then fall so low. See buzzing faces turn to stone. Oh no. Then roll away. They'll never make it home. And why we do this shit at all? I can't believe the rate of fall from 8 o'clock to your driver's on the way. It says his name is Paul. Thanks so much.
Thanks a lot, Sean. Nice one. Could we have Phil's plan next, please?
So I don't know about the rest of you, but tonight I'm a bit tense. So I'm just going to shake it out a bit in front of you all. And if you guys want to shake it out a bit as well, you're more than welcome. So. Phew. Okay. That's wonderful. That's a bit better. And the compliment that my poem is called Dance. God, I do feel much better. My heart is racing. That's nice. Dance. Know the way your body can sway. Bend your weight. Grounded, rooted down. And charge. Stop. Center. Lean back. Come forward with your breath. Still mantis. Chomp. Monkey hands. Hook around. Crouch. Crane in one leg. Hands out. Duck, fall, jump. Two snake hands roll around. Mold your body down. Shake as the bear wakes up at dawn. Slow tiger stalks and come around. Finish somewhere delicate, structured, timed, and proud. And then relax. Or you just began. Move in the color turquoise, tangerine, teal, or turmeric. How do you dance in the day? Is it different from the night? Do you go with your thought or improvise? And how much is too wild? Tell me. Dance. Thanks for listening.
Thanks a lot. Listen, lads, we're enforcing a total ban on introductions. Right? You just gotta go for it now because there's not really that much time left and there's a few people to go. So we're gonna go back online to Mona Lynch.
We'll get everyone in.
Oh yeah, we'll get everyone in, but with your help.
Can we hear Mona?
Mona, we can't hear you at the moment.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Okay. No introduction. Tethered nomad. They will not be towing me away from here, where the walls are thin and the neighbours near, where neither Gaelic nor Shelta is spoken. My pony could not survive in this kerchief garden, but I have my dog and my memories. When using wheels from prams, we'd make go-karts and fly down the hills, ignoring the cuts and bruises. My father brought us road bowling out to Waterloo on Sundays after Mass. I loved the shouting, the betting, the lofting, the grassy sops marking the road. I missed the sound of rain on the roof of the wagon, the buzz of a sulky race on a good coloured colt, the pull of the road and the wind on my face. He taught us how to hunt with a whippet, the best dog for catching rabbits, a lurcher for hares. Sometimes he would cross a greyhound with a Saluki and get the best dog of all, the Arabian Saluki. The butchers paid us for rabbits. But in the end, Kerry was the best place for travellers to make a living. Picking periwinkles on Banna Beach when the tide was out, filling buckets with holes to drain, and paid €120 per hundredweight. Tinsmiths we were, by trade. Who needs tin now? I am filed under settled. Thank you.
Thanks a lot, Mona. Okay. Is it May Jeanette? Thank you. We have May Jeanette next, please.
Okay. I was told to keep this short. Block and poetry. Got there in the end. Got here, decided not to read it, decided to go back to the start. This poem's from July 2021. There was a whisper in the wind. Goosebumps licked skin, a shiver slithered suddenly. Amorous sighs escaped in the shape of your name. Time held its tongue in silence,
the world did not sit still, but breathed a new life. Your name was music, and the world danced. Existence was all but fleeting when your name tied my tongue to hearts and brushed his fingertips along my lips. It was all consuming, as if my whole life held the honour of kissing your name. Your name was endless and boundless, could transgress the cosmos. Your name could light stars, nebulae dampened in its presence. It could collect galaxies as trinkets with its essence, fill the hollowness of a black hole or an empty soul. Now your name rests in memories, limited by access, restrained by ingress, tainted by forgetfulness. But I still like the way it tastes in my tongue, spawns butterflies and sapphires, holds my hands, dissipates my fears, tickles my soul and laughs with me. I'll keep a name alive, but I keep it as hostage, a prisoner of repeat, unable to age, sleep or eat. It'll ricochet in the confinement of my heartbeat as I whisper your name to the wind.
Thank you so much. Thank you. And can we have Rebecca next, please?
Oh, does this ever get easier? Anyways, I have no title for this. I finished it like today. But it goes, if I were to say I was too much, my biggest fear had come true. The fear I had so strong in the beginning, but let go of because of you. You would say something along the lines of, but it's not you. It's the wounds you carry and the battles you have to face. It's all seemingly keeping you in a very dark place. My sadness gets overwhelming sometimes. A lot of times. Trust me, I know. But so does the happiness whenever it glows. And these wounds and battles I have to face are all part of what make me who I am this time, and I would say that's completely fine. Although I hope you still think about how I love seeing flowers at the side of the road as I'm walking places because it brings me a sense of joy. How I love walking around on the grass barefoot because it makes me feel just a little less alone. How I enjoy paying attention to the birds wherever I go and witness the freedom they have to roam. I hope you also remember the small joys of how I laugh at little hard-ass jokes I find particularly funny, especially if I were the one to tell it to begin with. Or what it felt like to be cooking while dancing around on the kitchen floor as in that moment we're not out searching for any more. Or maybe the fact that I love the feeling of rain when the rain decides to come. I want to dance around in it to soak up all the fun. I love star-filled night skies where the moon shines ever so brightly and dipping my feet in the water ever so slightly. The love I carry for people, which includes you, especially you, is as precious as can be. Not ever a single ounce of hate lives within me. I feel deeply, and that includes the positives as much as the negatives, but I thought that was one of the things you love so much about me. Because it has truly become one of the things I love the most about myself. I used to view it as a weakness. I used to want to feel less. But I can finally say it's my biggest strength. So if this has caused you to fall out of love with me and slowly drift away, which there's no question about, and that's okay. Although I'd wish you choose to stay, I'm here to say that in this time I've gotten the chance to fall more and more in love with who I get to be each day, because how beautiful it is to actually be able to feel everything so deeply.
How beautiful it is. Nice one. We have Dee Allen, all the way from Oakland, California. Nice.
From my sixth book, Rusty Gallows, Passages Against Hate. From page 60 in the book, based on actual events. This is called Spirit Horse. Every spring as tree sprout new leaves, Aboriginal nation, reflex and grieves, long after justice failed them, one most slight. They remembered a beloved sister's departure from her family's sight. At close range, muzzle flash from a policeman's gun, panic from a petite Diné woman, dissipated, her life was done. Street-bound transition, from flesh to spirit, hoofbeats pound, a steady gallop, and only she could hear it. Sky blue eyes, gray spotted body, stray horse drew near with a neigh. Instinctively she knew it came to carry her away from a white man's world that shown her nothing but disrespect. She climbed onto the steed's bare back, wrapped her arms around its massive neck, and finally rode off on a distant course toward peaceful, eternal repose on the spirit horse. That poem was called Spirit Horse, in memory of L'Oreal Sinigini, 1989 to 2016. Rest in peace. From this mic to your ears, I'm D. Allen. Thanks for listening. Stop police brutality.
Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Steve. Thank you for that. And could we have Stefan next, please?
Right on the money. 0, 0, 0, 0. Just launch into them. Word. Your accent a river, your mind a sea. Myself hearing a washed out plea. The heavens hearing the waves that flow. The Wi-Fi wired, vines and stones. The thought lines flowing, the song lines too. The heart line healed from 6 to 32. Union. Come walk with me in forest deep. Only one? Oh, shoot. If I could choose one.
But you can only do, as in you
I
can
didn't
only do-
realize, sorry.
Yeah, next time.
Next time.
Just take it. Sorry to cut you short there, Stefan. I should have said that before you read, but we can only do one poem each at the moment. My apologies. But thank you so much for your poem. Carl, could we have you up next, please?
Yo, how are we doing? Do we have anyone else on the list after me? I can do a teeny one or a longer one or something. Alright, cool, I'll do a teeny one. Alright guys, I was sat out just trying to write a poem. I was trying to write one about Coventry, but instead, this is what I got. It's called Blessing. Let love be a river, for peace is an ocean, joy is a bubbling spring in the mountain.
We have Irene next, please. Irene is a friend of O'Reilly's from Galicia.
Thank you very much. I wanted to bring you some words in my native language, which is Galician. Yeah, Galego. And this poem is by a poet named Maria Lado, one of the most outstanding Galician poets alive. So, inventei o naval e a nosa cama estaba chea de flores. Así, claro, que non tiña medo dos nichos, e agradecía que anoitecese entre os teus brazos e as estrelas co seu canto de grilos. Quería dicirche, delicioso, e como se escribe o teu nome baixo as árbores.
Grazie Marina. Grazie Inglego. Irina was a very, she welcomed myself, Rosie and Paul and Kathy Darcy and Sue and Michael, who were all in Festival Dos Eidos in 2018, and Irina gave us a big welcome there, so we can welcome her to Cork now. That's been an absolutely fantastic night, and thank you for staying here and facilitating this. It's gone on a bit long. It's been unreal, really, like, respect to you all and fair play. We're going to have Public Shakespeare down to close out the night. Returning to Cork, Public Shakespeare. It's been a long time, I haven't seen him absolutely ages, and it's a pleasure to have him here. Nice and nice.
It's a pleasure to be here. I spent 2 years bedbound, dependent on human beings to look after me. And I went to a festival and I willingly took MD for the first time. And this is about the experience that I had. I've been stuck in a pattern, I'm locked in the paddock. Man couldn't walk, now I canter and gallop. Connected to earth with my heart best desire. Feeling so primal in rain with the fire. I'm coming up anticipating, my senses are elevating. I'm in love with conversation and open communication. M in my DNA. What is that voice just trying to say? Now listen bro, cause it's all okay. Do not resist, just go and play. Your essence and truth is to be the solution. You are not alone, see beyond the illusion. Stand tall in your circle, the man of inclusion. Be certain and purple with magic amusing. Everybody raise a glass. Put your hands up and say I'm class. Everybody? I'm class! Everybody? I'm class! I am so grateful for feeling these feelings, connecting with people and seeing their meaning. Your energy presence is giving me healing. Your chatter matters, it's giving me meaning. It gave me a message that we are not separate. We are all class and we tend to forget it. Light can take over, but you have to let it. I'm biting my jaw, but I do not regret it. Lights in your heart and go light up the dark. We came here to take over and love taking part. You can decide when the good time can start and let go with the fear and watch me go take charge. Everybody raise a glass. Put your hands up and say I'm class. Everybody? I'm class. Everybody? I'm class. Because I am the power, I am the one, I am the earth and the wind and the sun. I am the power, I am the one, I am the earth and the wind and the sun. I am the power, I am the one, I am the earth and the wind and the sun. I am the power, I am the one, I am the earth and the wind and the sun. Thank you.
Mila Buetes. Well done. That was the 687th Ovail. You know, and ye made it happen, lads. Ye made it happen, boys and girls. Well fucking done. And thank you to you all. We're gonna go over to Maine's there and have a few drinks and catch up and. Thank you. Ciao. Oh, thank you to you all. Ciao, ciao.
Go to Mainz.
700 will be.